Hi, this is Al and welcome to the best moment in history. Tesla today has a market cap of around $700 billion, which is more than Toyota and Volkswagen combined. However, there's a small detail. As you can see, Volkswagen and Toyota sold almost 22 million vehicles in 2019, while Tesla is there down the table in the 28th place, having sold only 367,500 cars. Despite having more value than the two car giants, it sells 1.69% of Volkswagen and Toyota cars. For many years, media, competitors, and short sellers said that Tesla was overhyped.
Everybody in the global automobile industry is going to be offering high quality, high technology, high range electric vehicles, and Tesla has no advantage, no technological advantage, no software advantage, no battery advantage, no advantages whatsoever.
But doesn't Tesla really have any advantage, as Bob Lutz is saying? I completely disagree. You just have to see that in Q2 2020, with the world's population confined, Tesla decreased its vehicle sales by only 5%, while the industry average did so by 40%. In this video, we're going to see the 25 most important competitive advantages that Tesla has. The video is long, but it's worth it because maybe you didn't know all of them. And if you did it, just tell me and I will personally pay you 10 to the power of minus $25. Yes, I'm a generous dude. But first, please consider subscribing to this channel so you won't miss any video like this one. All the competitive advantages that we're going to see in this video are important, but there is one that stands out above all. First one, Elon Musk. If I were to set up a basketball team today, I would like to have a 28-year-old Michael Jordan as my captain. In the same way, in my company, I want to have the greatest innovator of all time. Because what other entrepreneur has succeeded in fields as different as online banking, electric cars, or even space rockets? None. Never. Speaking of winners, James Watson, the Nobel Prize in Medicine, who discovered with Francis Crick the DNA double helix, when he began to investigate the wonderful world of genetic translation and transcription, he didn't understand the need of RNA. Since RNA is an acid much more unstable than DNA, why does the body use RNA when it could use DNA that is a better acid? The answer was found when they discovered that at the beginning of life on Earth, RNA was the only molecule responsible for the transmission of inheritance. DNA appeared thousands of years later. This is important because according to Watson, once natural selection has solved a problem, it usually sticks with that solution by following the maxim, if ain't broke, don't fix it. This principle of not changing certain habits because they work even they're not the most efficient happens also to individuals and companies. That is the reason why the old companies have very inefficient processes. Boy, we have done it this way all our lives and it works! However, Elon Musk is different. He's a physicist, but not only because his college degree says so, but because his mind is that of a physicist 24 hours a day. By this, I mean that the only limits he knows are those of physics, so he works with first principles.
A fully and rapidly reusable orbit-class rocket. This is a very difficult thing to do because we live on a planet where that is just barely possible. If gravity were a little lower, it would be easy. If it was a little higher, it would be impossible. Now, we could fail. I'm not saying we're certain of success here, but we're going to try to do it.
If it's physically possible, we will do it. If you combine unmatched technical knowledge, a determination to choose the right thing to do, and an extraordinary capacity for work, you get a genius like Elon Musk. You just have to see how his other company, SpaceX, started. When he went to Russia to buy rockets and he was asked an exorbitant price for them, Musk thought as he always does with his famous first principles of thoughts. So he calculated what the rocket materials were worth at the atomic levels and realized that it wasn't that expensive. All he had to do was to find a way to put all those atoms together to create a rocket. At that moment, he read everything he found on the subject and also absorbed all the knowledge of great NASA engineers with whom he met until he founded SpaceX. And the rest is history. Another reason Elon Musk is an advantage for Tesla is that if I showed you these faces, Akio Toyoda, Herbert Diaz, Jun Bonko, Mary Barra, Jim Hackett, Makoto Uchida, Takahiro Hachigo, Michael Manley, Luca De Meo, Carlos Tavares, you probably didn't know many of them. You're not the only one because not long ago I didn't know any of them. These are the 10 CEOs of the 10 auto groups that sold the most cars last year. They are completely strangers to the broad public. However, Elon is a celebrity who rubs shoulders with movie stars, presidents of countries, makes cameo in Hollywood movies, on television series.
I'm Elon Musk.
And the most important US late night shows fight for his presence. In addition to this, 40 million people follow him on Twitter. That is more than the population of the whole country of Canada. What Elon does and says is news. So Tesla does not need to spend anything on advertising. The second reason that Tesla has a great competitive advantage is number 2, vertical integration. Large automotive companies are characterized by focusing on the internal combustion engine and outsourcing the rest. Tesla does the exact opposite. Practically everything about its car, from the engines, their seats, through the battery packs, their software, their chips, its own points of sale, superchargers, workshops, and now even its own battery cells. And this produces a very important double advantage. First, costs are saved. The profit of the supplier goes directly to Tesla. Second, optimized architectures for the car are achieved. In other words, they make cars work better. Sandy Munro is the CEO of Munro & Associates, a leading consulting firm that has worked in engineering consulting from Barbies to the International Space Station. Companies all over the world pay him to tear apart their competitors' vehicle and figure out how they are built and how much it costs to do so. Now hear what Sandy has to say about Tesla's high voltage wiring.
That one cable does everything, and unfortunately for the Chevy Bolt, those are the cables you need to have in order to do what this is doing.
In other words, what Tesla does in a single cable, the competition needs multiple systems. Why? Because by outsourcing everything, each supplier has its own power supply system. However, Tesla, with a holistic vision, can make better, more efficient, and cheaper products. And a clear example of this vertical integration is the third reason, that is FSD computer.
At first, it seems improbable. How could it be that Tesla, who has never designed a chip before, would design the best chip in the world? But that is objectively what has occurred.
And Elon Musk is right. Peter Bannon, Tesla's chief chip designer, who was the creator of the iPhone 5 chip, has achieved what seemed impossible. A chip that is 21 times more powerful than the best chip on the market. This increase is so great that Peter Bannon, with all his experience, see what he has to say.
I've never worked on a project where the performance increase was more than 3.
When Japanese engineers tore down a Tesla, they said their electronics was 6 years ahead of Toyota and Volkswagen. And this advantage is about the chip that is on the market. But more than half of the development of the future improved version of the next chip, hardware 4, has already been done. But let's see what our friend Sandy has to say about this.
You compared Tesla's hardware circuit boards to what you have seen in fighter jets.
That kind of stuff is not what I would have expected to see inside of a car. But when we started tearing it apart, they moved from Apple level cell phones to something I would say would be the next step change.
And this beast of a computer serves to process the fourth advantage, that is, the immense amount of data that comes out of the billions of miles traveled by the entire Tesla fleet. Kei Fu Lee, the former executive of Apple, Microsoft, and president of Google China, in his book AI Superpowers, explains the following.
AI is basically run on data and fueled by data. The more data, the better the AI works.
Data is the new gold. And as far as data is concerned, Tesla has more than 3 billion miles traveled in its autopilot system, compared to the only 20 million of Waymo, which is the second that follows. In short, Tesla has 99% of the data of the autonomous driving assistants in the world, and every time it collects more and more. But why is this? Because Tesla has a diametrically opposed approach to the competition. What does Waymo and the competition do? They pay engineers six-figure salaries to go 2 by 2 driving and correcting their algorithm. What does Tesla do? Its users pay for the car, and when they drive, they're training the Tesla algorithm to learn. That is, users are those who pay to train the system by driving, such as you do when you search in Google that you're training by clicking the results and making it better and better. And also both the advantage of a chip as powerful as the FSD and that of this huge amount of data allows Tesla to have the fifth competitive advantage: safety. In the first quarter of 2021, Tesla had one accident for every 4.19 million miles driven on autopilot. If this is compared to the average American car that has an accident every 484,000 miles, it makes it 8.66 times less likely to have an accident in a Tesla than in any other car. Okay, but what if a Tesla does have an accident? Well, it is very simple, that it is much safer due to its own architecture. Let's take a look at some of the most common accidents. A frontal accident. The danger in a nice car is that the engine enters the cabin and hits the passenger. But what is in a Tesla in the place of the large combustion engine? Nothing. Air, the so-called frank or front trunk. So, when a Tesla has a frontal hit, this crumpled zone has enough vacuum for the car to absorb the heat before it reaches the cockpit. If it wasn't clear enough from the simulation, see how it looks on a Model 3 after a frontal hit. And how is the interior? Except that the airbags have popped as they should, it is intact. Another accident, a side impact. Due to the structure of the electric car, the battery placed in the base of the vehicle makes it much more rigid against side collisions. This battery also serves to prevent one of the deadliest accidents that exist: rollover. It is well known that SUVs, due to their high center of gravity, have a greater tendency to rollover. The Tesla Model X, however, was the first SUV to receive a perfect crash test score from the NHTSA. As you can see, no matter how hard they try, it is almost impossible to overturn it. The heavy battery makes the overturn very difficult, or if it happens, it returns to its position. Well, what about the roof? Because all that glass is very beautiful, but it is well known that glass is a very fragile material. Check out this roof strength test of a Model 3 that stands 20,000 pounds of force. That's more than if 5 other Model 3s were put on the roof of this car. In fact, the Model 3's roof earned the best strength to weight score of any EV the IIHS has ever tested. All these advances in both passive and active safety makes the Model 3, Model S, Model X and Model Y the 4 safest cars ever tested by the NHTSA. I repeat, Tesla makes the first, second, third and fourth safest cars in the world. But Tesla are even more famous than for their safety for the following competitive advantage: the acceleration.
Wait, why are you getting your grad school? What do you want to do with it? Oh my god!
In fact, they are so fast that they have dared to compete a family SUV like the Model X with an Alfa Romeo sports car. The incredible thing is not that the Model X wins, but that it does so while towing another sports car. But Tesla, not happy with making family cars that were super fast, decided with the Tesla Model S Plaid to create the fastest car in the 0 to 60 mph and the quarter of mile. Crazy! And all this without talking about future models. The Cybertruck that beats supercars like Porsche, the Tesla Semi that accelerates from 0 to 60 in 5 seconds, and the Tesla Roadster. The Tesla Roadster is crazy. But as they are not yet on the market today, we're going to continue with the current competitive advantages. And the clear present advantage is the 7th on our list, which is, well, Elon, I think it's better that you explain it yourself.
It's worth noting that no electric car has exceeded the range of the first Model S that we came out with in 2012.
So this 7th competitive advantage is the range. As Elon says, Tesla not only does it produce electric cars with more range, but it also has years of advantage over the competition. To give you a hint of Tesla's advantage in batteries, you have to know that last year in 2020, there wasn't any car with more range than the 265 miles of the 2012 Model S. And now the new refreshed Model S has already a range of 405 miles and improving. And all this superiority has been achieved before the 4680s that are about to disrupt the battery world. But the really important thing about Tesla's competitive advantage when it comes to batteries is their efficiency ratio. Look in this table, the kilowatts hour by range and by weight, the Tesla dominates the classification. In other words, Tesla's car managed to use less kilowatt hour of electricity per mile travel for equal weight. But what is amazing is that your car improves its range over time. And this is due to the 8th competitive advantage, which is the over-the-air software updates. Tesla is the only company in the world that has a software update system as if your car was a smartphone. Now see what the most influential tech YouTuber of nowadays, Marquis Brownlee, has to say.
It's very, very rare that a car improves over time. Usually when you get a car, you drive it off the lot and just over time, it slowly gets worse and worse until it's too old and it's time to replace it. These cars get a lot of software updates. In fact, since I've gotten that car, it's gotten more software updates than my phone has. And in that time, it's gotten faster, it's gotten new features, new launch control. The autopilot now recognizes and reacts to new things and shows animations differently. It's a lot.
These updates that literally make your car better over time are one of the reasons that make Tesla the cars that depreciate the less. You buy the car and through software updates, you get more acceleration, more range, more infotainment, and it can even serve you for the next competitive advantage, which is number 9, the service. If you have a problem of any kind in your car, the first thing that Tesla Service Center does is do a remote check, and many times with a simple update, they can solve the problem on the spot without having to move your car. But what happens if you have a hit and a headlight breaks? Well, in that case, just let them know and they will go to fix the problem while you are at home, at work, or wherever you want. Tesla cares about making its users having the best, easiest, and most technological experience at all times, even from the beginning, as in the following competitive advantage: online buying. In the 21st century, we buy everything online. Why not also cars? We're going to time the process of buying a Tesla Model 3 with that of a BMW 3 Series. So I go to the Tesla store, I want a Model 3, I choose the standard range, I say following, I love red, I choose the tires, those are okay, very beautiful. I choose the interior, white of course, love white. Next, and of course I want the full self-driving package. And that's it. In less than 1 minute, I'm done. Let's see now BMW. I go to the BMW site. I choose the model. That's, as I've told you, I want the Model 3 Series. I see all the Model 3s that there are. I choose the configuration. As you can see, there are like many different Model 3s. Now I have changed to double speed because otherwise you will get sleep, because there are so many different possibilities. I choose the kind of motor that I want. Then I choose the interior that I want. I choose the types. There are like many different types of tires, many different colors. Then I choose the interior that is white, as I've chosen before with my Model 3. But as you see, like there are many different also interiors. There are packets for connectivity. Tesla only offers one packet that is the best one. Then there are like many different options. You can see like there are kind of lighting, of head display, of entertainment, of mantenimiento, that you can translate from Spanish, steering wheel, road assistance, safety. Tesla, all this gives you by default, like gives you like the best that they can, and you only have to choose 2 or 3 things, like you have seen. I choose the seats. Like there's thousands of options. There's like the electric function, the interior design, the lights, the exterior design, the I like things of brand that they charge you. And here we're not even finished. More than 3 minutes, nearly 4 minutes, and you have to request an offer, then go to the dealership to negotiate, etc. While the Tesla Model 3, I paid with my credit card and they bring it to my home. But if on the other hand you want to test the car yourself, we pass to the following competitive advantage: 11, the Tesla stores. In a Tesla store, you know that the salesman does not want to push you for a vehicle that he has stuck or that he's giving you a bad price. Why? Because sales are centralized. Tesla stores are to try, to learn, to enjoy, and then you buy online with the best possible price, the only price that exists, of the independent Tesla website. In addition to this, Tesla does not share the benefits with the dealerships because they are Tesla stores, and that money can be used for research and development and create amazing products. And if you finally buy a Tesla, your children are going to love the next advantage, that is number 12, infotainment. Tesla's entertainment system is so good that a picture is better than 1,000 words.
Oh, hello, children. Hello, family.
Did you rent this?
For Tesla.
It's a Tesla. Is it yours?
Yeah.
What? Oh no, 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 it isn't. Oh my gosh. Jared, no. It's a Tesla. What the hell? Oh my god, honey. Honey, I love you. When you have to tell me.
I can tell you everything. Okay.
It's a surprise. Wait, what? I love this surprise.
I know.
Oh my god, you drove up in a Tesla? Was it amazing?
Tesla is a computer on wheels with all kinds of entertainment ranging from Netflix, YouTube, all kinds of game, and everyone's favorite one, the fart mode. An application that farts on demand, and you can even choose what type of fart and where in the car will be heard. Look at the reaction of these children.
Those are no. And some people think, oh, what the heck? So that has to do with the fart.
And of course, video games are extraordinary. From the typical Atari, for the most nostalgic ones, to the Beach Buggy Racing, a car game that you control with the steering wheel of your car, and all this will only grow since Tesla has Tencent as an investor, which in 2017 bought 5% of the company. This is important, as Tencent is the largest video game company in the world and will allow Tesla to grow in this field as it gets prepared for a world of autonomous cars where riding a Tesla will be the safest, the fastest, the most comfortable, and the funniest option. As an anecdote, I don't know if you knew that the first big money Elon Musk made was when he programmed a video game at age 12. But first, please, if you're liking the video, give it a like, and if you haven't yet, subscribe. In 1984, Elon created Blaster, a video game in which a ship has to kill aliens. Yes, since he was little, he was a geek, but a clever geek. He sold the game to the PC and Office Technology magazine for $500, which today would correspond to more than $1,200. For a child, is not that bad. In fact, if you want to play the game today, I leave you a link in the description. But being the Teslas as impressive as you're explaining them, all the thieves will want to steal it. Well, don't worry, my dear friend, because here we come to the next competitive advantage, which is the 13th Sentry Mode. Like a smart car that is, the Tesla, it is also pending that nothing happens to it. So when you leave it, it records everything that happens around it, in case someone wants to rob you or raid your car. In fact, the police has already been using these videos to identify and arrest criminals. When these criminals took the laptop inside this Tesla, they did not know that they were being recorded, their faces, and the license plates of their car. But if some thief dares to try to steal the whole car, it is almost impossible. And it is getting more and more complicated because they put layers and layers of security. But in the event that you have a brainiac who steals it, what happens? Between 2011 and 2018, 115 Teslas were stolen. Do you know how many were recovered? 112. That is 97%. While the average of normal stolen cars is 58.4%. In the event that you're unlucky enough that something happens to the Tesla car, we move to the next competitive advantage, which is Tesla insurance. Tesla is the first auto company to offer insurance to its customers. So far, only in California. Check out what Elon Musk had to say about it.
The heart of being competitive with insurance is what is the accuracy of your information? Are you forced to assess people statistically, or can you assess people individually, looking ahead with smart projections? Gives us basically a fundamentally better insurance product.
Tesla is disrupting the world of insurance because with the amount of data it generates, it can get the cheapest insurance for you. Instead of traditional methods of statistical tables of a 25-year-old man from Los Angeles who drives a 350 horsepower sedan, Tesla has millions of data points of you. If you compare this with traditional insurance that they still do not have enough data of Tesla insurance is the cheapest one. But not only this, also again, as the purchase is from your Tesla profile, you can do it from your Tesla app in less than a minute without hidden costs and total transparency. So the rest of insurance companies simply cannot compete because it is Tesla that owns the data. And just as no insurance company has the data that Tesla has, no company in the world, neither automobile nor electric, has the following competitive advantage, which is number 15th, supercharger network. When Tesla launched the first Roadster back in 2008, electric cars were ugly cars with little range, and therefore they were simply used for driving for short commutes. When Tesla came up with the Roadster with 244 miles of range and beautiful aesthetics out in the world, it eliminated two of the flaws. The Roadster, being a sports car, it was a weekend car. However, when they released the Tesla Model S, this sedan needed to find some way to recharge it on a long trip. The logical thing would have been to wait for an electric company to start building the supercharger network. However, Tesla needed to go fast. And with their ethos of vertical integration, they decided to do it themselves. So they began to build. They started with one station in California. They continued through the rest of the United States. And right now, Tesla has around 3,000 stations with more than 25,000 superchargers around the world. Now, for those of us who knows Tesla, seems normal. But this is as if Toyota decided, in addition to producing cars, to make a network of gas stations all over the world. Well, that plus the direct sales that we have seen, plus the insurance, plus the repairs, it's crazy. And while charging your car on a supercharger, you can be having a coffee, and the Tesla app will notify you when it's almost charged. And this is the 16th competitive advantage, the Tesla app. As a software company, Tesla has by far the best smartphone app on the market. You can do everything from setting the temperature to opening the doors, to locate the car, and even get into the car. But to get inside the car, the biggest technological madness that Tesla did was with the Model X, that you can get inside the car with the Model X opening the door and closing it for you without touching anything. And of course, within the Tesla app, it has such an impressive feature that it is quite a competitive advantage in and of itself. 17th, Smart Summon. Now we can all be like Michael Knight and summon our personal kit, our Tesla. Just take out the Tesla app and summon it. A Tesla will come to you. Very useful when it's raining, you want to tease your buddies or impress your date. And if you want, you can also make it go somewhere. Watch this video that the Tesla app even opens the door garage. Though this functionality is still in its infancy, it's a real madness. And who knows, maybe soon it will be like this. all the advantages we've seen so far make Tesla deserve the 18th competitive advantage, Tesla brand. A few months ago, Brand Finance released its Global 500 2020, in which it studies the 500 most important brands in the world. Do you know which brand has grown the most in the last year? Tesla, above Instagram. When you think of an electric car anywhere in the world, you think of Tesla. But why? Of course, because it has the advantage of being the first electric car company on the market. But the really definitive reason is that it makes very, very, very good cars. In 2019, Consumer Report positioned the Model 3 as the car with the best user satisfaction. And the same year, Bloomberg's thorough study of more than 5,000 Model 3 owners revealed that 99% of Model 3 owners would recommend their car to a friend or a family member. Okay, but that could be that these owners are Tesla maniacs and are sectarian, and that is why they think their products are so good. Let's look at what the experts have to say. Probably the best car magazine in the world is Motor Trend. This legendary magazine was created in 1949, and 2 years ago, because of its 70th anniversary, they decided to give the award of the best car of their history in these last 7 decades. The award winner was the 2013 Tesla Model S. What gives even more value to this award is that Motor Trend is financed thanks to the advertisements of the car brands, and Tesla, in its entire history, has not spent a single dollar, either on Motor Trend or in any other media company, because their cars are so good that word of mouth is the best marketing strategy. In addition to this, now that most traditional brands have started to bring electric cars to the market, this gives Tesla publicity since 21st century buyers we do not stop comparing. And when you're thinking of buying an electric car, you will compare it with the market leader. But it is not only its product that makes Tesla dominate the sales of electric cars in the US with an overwhelming 80% of the market, and that in California, the Tesla Model 3 is the best-selling car, ahead of much cheaper cars like Honda Civic, Toyota Camry, or Corolla. No, what makes Tesla such a powerful brand is its following competitive advantage, the 19th Tesla mission. Tesla mission is not to make amazing cars that make their customers fall in love. No, even they do it. Tesla mission is to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. Let's compare it with the mission of Toyota America, for example. To attract and attain customers with high-valued products and services and the most satisfying ownership experience in America. The big difference is that companies generally seek a mutual benefit, the customer and the company itself. However, Tesla mission is superior to itself and to its client. It is about our world, about our future, about our children, our grandchildren. This love that people have for Tesla mission has made an army of YouTubers who have exclusive Tesla channels. Many of them have left their jobs to focus their efforts of bringing all the wonder of this company that is changing our world. And speaking of focusing efforts, if you appreciate this channel, as you can see, it requires a lot of work and I do it for free. Consider supporting me at patreon.com, the best moment in history. There's a link in the description. We are at a time of change, probably the greatest crisis in history that humanity as a whole has faced. After 200 years of industrial activity, scientists claim that climate change is devastating the whole planet, leading us towards the sixth mass extinction of life on Earth.
Now the new climate change report just released. 13 federal agencies ramping up urgent warnings of a severe threat to America's health and economy. The staggering findings released in the middle of a holiday weekend. Some questioning that timing tonight. Here's ABC's Kana Whitworth.
This year's deadly wildfires and monster storms, terrifying signs of things to come. According to tonight's dire new assessment from 13 federal agencies, government scientists warning the impacts of climate change are intensifying. Climate-related threats to Americans' physical, social, and economic well-being are rising from coast to coast.
In fact, governments that have been ignoring this problem for years have now begun to take action under pressure from a global movement of citizens calling for solutions. This is the reason why what Tesla does reaches people's hearts, because they are doing something good to solve this very serious problem. Tesla is the world's first vertically integrated sustainable energy company offering end-to-end clean energy products including generation, storage, and consumption. And what will make Tesla achieve its mission is the 20th advantage, that is, continuous innovation. Tesla carries Silicon Valley DNA in its veins. With only 24 years old, Elon Musk founded Zip2, a kind of digital yellow pages, and a few years later, just after selling it, he founded X.com that would become PayPal. In these pure software companies, they follow the lean startup method, in which a product is designed in order to measure the reaction of users, learn from there, and improve the product. But startups do it at a blazing speed and at the lowest possible cost, minimum time and money. The incredible thing is that Tesla is not only doing this with its software, but also with its hardware, which are the very complicated parts of a car. A clear example of this is the cooling system. 2 years ago, when Sandy Munro tore down the Model 3, he was surprised by the Super Bottle, a bottle that managed all the cooling of the car. Notice that, as we have seen before with the wiring, the Tesla Model 3 has an integrated cooling system, while the Chevy Bolt has 3 different ones: battery, cabin heating, and electronics. Well, less than 2 years after that, Sandy Munro ripped apart the Model Y. He was stunned to see that Tesla had changed the entire cooling system for a heat pump that is managed by the so-called octovalve. Thanks to its innovation, the Model Y, despite being 10% larger than the Model 3, can maintain practically the same range. But if it's difficult to iterate at that speed the hardware of these computers on wheels that are the Teslas, it is even more difficult to do it with the main product of Tesla, which is the machine that builds the machine, its gigafactories. On January 7, 2019, it took place the Giga Shanghai breakground ceremony. Tesla said that it wanted to start delivering vehicles by the end of 2019. However, it seemed impossible that a factory of this size could be built in a record time.
Elon Musk said that there is going to be Model 3s manufactured from the China plant by the end of 2019. So far, the China plant is basically an open field with some digging going on. It's harder and harder to believe that there will be Model 3s coming out of the Tesla China Gigafactory by the end of the year. But what Tesla doesn't have right now is a factory. So that's a problem.
Well, now we know that Tesla built the entire Giga Shanghai in 2019 and on December 30th, 2019, delivered the first Model 3s made in China, also being 65% cheaper in capex per unit of capacity than the Model 3 made in USA. Jerome Guillem says this:
we can build new factories for less amount of money and much faster.
It's a better factory for less money in less time.
And we are already seeing this high speed in Giga Berlin and Giga Austin. But Elon Musk's aspirations are not only in terms of the speed of the factories, but of their efficiency as well. In the past Automotive News interview, he said this.
I think it is possible to improve automotive manufacturing efficiency by at least 1,000% and possibly 10,000%.
10,000%! This guy is crazy. Because according to Elon Musk, today's factories are nearly empty and moving at a very slow speed. In fact, he makes the analogy that the fastest car factory in the world produces cars at 1/5 human walking speed. And this volumetric efficiency and manufacturing speed will be disrupted in the next gigafactories, or better said, terafactories. In any case, the claims of Elon Musk are amazing. I recommend you to listen to the full interview, especially the first part, of which I leave you a link in the description. And all this innovation would be impossible without the following competitive advantage: the 21st, talent. In a survey of the students of the best engineering schools in the US, ahead of Google, Apple, NASA, do you know which company was the first one in the ranking? Yes, Tesla. And the second one is SpaceX, which is Tesla's twin. Another example of this is the case of the investor Kevin O'Leary, who changed from a skeptic of Tesla to buying Tesla stocks when he went with his son to a series of college electric car racing competitions and saw firsthand that all of these young mechanics dream of working at Tesla. Unlike the large traditional automotive companies, its headquarters are in California, where all the talent of global engineers is concentrated. But this talent is not only used for Tesla cars, but also for energy. Look at this list of the 10 biggest companies by revenue in the world. 5 of them are energy companies. These companies are part of a world of extraction that is about to get disrupted. And for this, we turn to our 22nd competitive advantage, which is solar roof. What happens if you have a beautiful house and you decide to put solar panels on it? You could find something like this. But you only have to look back a few years to see what electric cars were like before Tesla and what those of Californian brands look like now. This is exactly what they want to achieve with the third version of the solar roof, to create tremendously attractive roofs that generate electricity. In addition, the price of the solar roof is cheaper than a new premium roof plus solar panels. However, if you have a relatively new roof, financially it makes more sense to get a retrofit solar panels, and there we pass to the next advantage, which is the 23rd, cheapest solar panels. How do they manage to beat all the competition in price? Mainly for one reason. If you're a Tesla driver who is in love with your car, when you find out that you can charge it for free using the sun that your home receives, what company will you go to? That's right. Tesla does not spend the insane amount of money that other solar companies do on advertising, because their customers are the owners of their cars. But what do they do when the sun doesn't shine? We use the following competitive advantage, the 24th, static batteries. Tesla is the only company that with its Powerwall closes the circle of sustainable energy, from production through storage to consumption. During the day, you produce energy that accumulates in the batteries of your home Powerwall. And at night, when Helios goes to sleep, your Powerwall provides energy to your home and your car. Moreover, Tesla has batteries for an intermediate scale, the power packs that store energy for businesses, and for large scale, the megapack, that requires 40 less space and has 10 times fewer parts than the rest of the systems of the competition. In 2016, a series of storms caused blackouts across South Australia. To solve this problem, Tesla built the world's largest battery in Hornsdale in just 63 days. Since its beginning on December 1st, 2017, it has been stabilizing the power grid throughout the region and in just 1 year saved customers over $40 million. The South Australian project has been so successful that they are already doing not only an addition of 50% expansion of it, but new projects in other parts of the world. They have validated these gigantic battery systems and now they're going to scale them up all over the world. This new technology is much more efficient than expensive and highly polluting peak coal and gas power plants. However, with more and more green energies, the traditional electric grid encounters a problem, that is the duck curve. And no, it's not the duck that you're thinking about. Pay attention to this blue line, that is the load in megawatts of the electric grid. But now that renewables generate energy during daylight hours, the curve has a valley at noon to increase significantly when the sun has set and consumption increases in the households. This steep curve is a very difficult problem to optimize, but to do so, Tesla has the 25th and finally you're going to get rid of me, competitive advantage, Autobider. Autobider is a software that allows Tesla to manage energy, not only to solve the duck curve, but also to manage energy much more efficiently. Autobider has been managing the Hornsdale battery, and also it has been used in the first pilots of the VPP, the Virtual Power Plant. Not long ago, information was centralized in large corporations. However, with the explosion of social networks and smartphones, we no longer want to participate only by consuming information, but also we want to produce and share it. In 2019, Tesla, with the collaboration of the Australian government, created a virtual power plant. This consists of 1,000 homes with solar panels and power walls, all connected by Autobider. In other words, Tesla software is used to manage these complex networks in which customers go from buying energy only to also now selling it. And as has happened in the case of giant Hornsdale battery, it has been validated. In fact, Tesla has already been authorized in the United Kingdom to be an electric operator as it plans to make another virtual power plant. And with this, my dear friend, we come to the end of the 25 competitive advantage. Please tell me in the comments the one that has surprised you the most. And is there any other competitive advantage that I have left? Hi, this is Al and welcome to the best moment in history. You live in the best moment in history. Enjoy! If you like the video, give it a like, leave a comment, share it with the whole universe, and please, I want to make interesting videos for you, but I need to know what interests you. Leave your comments. I'm working hard to make the best possible content for you, but it takes time. Consider supporting the show in Patreon, the best moment in history, so I can stop living under a bridge and focus creating content for you. There is a link in the description. Muchas gracias de corazón.